Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to Leo season. We have made it. We made it through Cancer season, and here we are in the thick of eclipse season. So speaking of that, I did eclipse oracle readings for all signs. The link for your sign watching here is below. Also, everything I'm about to talk about is in the description box below. Of course, if you want a private reading with me, you can access that below to my booking system. Prices are going to be going up for my birthday in Virgo season, so take advantage of those prices now. If you want access to the mid-month readings, you have two options for that. I now offer the ability to buy them by sign individually, or of course, you can join Siren Gang where you pay monthly and you get access to all 12 of the readings, plus a weekly energetic blog, plus $3 off my services. But when my prices go up, that discount will go from $3 off to $5 off. And I also listed some crystal sets for sale on my website as well, along with, of course, my ritual kit. So the description of that is below, and I've already sold about half of them. And if you guys really like them, I will start stocking them more often. I was just trying to gauge where everything was at. All the crystal sets that we have on the site now are going to be charged under the eclipses, so you have the opportunity to add any additional intentions you have and things like that and get them charged up. Of course, as always, if you have any questions for me or not sure which reading to get or whatever, of course, email me. The description is below. And if you want access to me on a more regular basis, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @_spiritual_siren. Mwah. Taurus. So overall, I feel like you're in a really good place this month. Even if things aren't perfect and, you know, obviously you would want less change or want to relax more or whatever, you know, because you are a fixed sign and these eclipses are happening in your fellow fixed signs, so they're hitting you in a square. Excuse me. But overall, the message here is that you're healing the relationship with the more fluid part of you. Okay, and all the things that come with, all the things that are then ruled by fluidity, right? Allowing change to happen. I feel like grace is a big one, right? Giving room for grace, being gracious, allowing yourself to really be in a deeper state of gratitude. I just saw someone bowing, like a really, really, really deep bow. Like so humbled and in reverie of the life that they have solidified for themselves. Okay, because you understand that manifestation, physicality of the fruits of your labor are not the only joy in life. And I feel to an extent Spirit is kind of withholding physical manifestation from you to really, really, really make sure you heal that relationship that you have with the non-physical, to make sure you really heal the relationship that you have with tapping into the creative flow and being kind of childlike with your faith. The Ace of Cups and the High Priest is also asking you to extend a hand to, again, that larger but darker, I feel, part of you that doesn't get to see the light of day often enough, whether that be creative, whether that be spiritual, whether that be occult, whether that be just as a raw, I'm feeling a raw feminine power too. I feel like you need to extend a hand to your inner raw femininity. It doesn't matter what gender you are, to get back in touch with the fullness of yourself. And that's kind of what is keeping, notice how it's water and healing feminine energy on either side of this waiting period with your physical. So, but obviously you're feeling safe and you're feeling secure and you're feeling like yourself. But the more grace, the more like slippery, flailing in the breeze type of energy you move into, the better, okay? All right, Taurus. Overall, I feel that you're at a point in your life where you've done a lot of healing, and at the same time, you know there's more to be done. And for a while, you knew there was more to be done, but you didn't want to do it. or you didn't see the value in doing it because your life was fine as it was. But that has then turned itself over into realizing that, yeah, your life is fine, but imagine how much better it could be as well, right? If you just put in a little bit more effort, or if you just did a little bit more healing, or whatever the case may be. And I feel that at the end of the day, this next month is about, like I was saying in the beginning, facing your darkness in a way that you previously have not. Because these cards, these like quote negative cards, are in the position of Spirit's advice to you. Okay, so when you see heavy energy in the advice area, this is talking about getting to the root of our personal hangups, getting to the root of our fears, getting to the root of things that aren't really functioning unconsciously anymore, like because you know they're there, but you're actually allowing them to come up for air. I feel like you're letting your inner pain and, you know, old memories come up to be cleared. So this is a really, really great position to be in. And your overall energy this month, because I was called to pull oracle cards this month, is acceptance. I am learning to accept the things that I cannot change. And even though I've read this card a million times for the first time, this resonated for me as the Serenity Prayer. So I don't know if any of you have gotten sober or have some type of addiction. It could be something like addicted to food, or addicted to, you know, we could be addicted to a lot. We could be addicted to mentalities. We could be addicted to laziness. We could be addicted to not living up to our potential. I just had a conversation with somebody about that recently, about how some of our biggest fears really stem from being afraid that if we stepped fully into our potential, you know, that life, you know, people would demand too much of us. Okay? If we really lived like fully and did everything that we were capable of, you know, would people like us? Would people expect too much of us? Would we ever get a break? You know, these are these kind of things. But I feel like you're coming into a deep, deep acceptance with who you are, how far you have come, and how much room you have left to grow. You know, I feel like there's a deep sense of being okay this month. Not that you weren't okay before, but you're like okay in a new way. Like you're just like, again, okay with how far you have come and how far you haven't. And it's not in a way of like, oh, I know that I could push myself harder, but I'm not. It's like you truly are just at peace. But the overall energy is the Nine of Swords. So I feel like you're going to be getting a lot of, I want to say, inclinations this month to dig deeper. Okay, messages to dig deeper. And I feel like the more deep you're willing to dig, right, the better chance of you hitting water, or you striking oil, or you striking gold, right? The digger we deep, the deeper we dig, right? Oh my God, I can't even speak. The deeper we dig, the more likely it is that we will strike, right, and find some type of very raw truth. Because I feel like that's what you're trying to tap into, a very raw truth, a truth that is your own, a truth that you would be repulsed by if somebody presented it to you, and that is why it is imperative that you do your own digging, okay? You do your own excavating, all right? So, because at the core of everything, you're learning how to be your own best friend, Taurus. You're learning how to meet yourself halfway, because you understand that whatever's not happening in relationships of any type, friendships, definitely coworkers, you know, and of course romantic partners, whatever's not happening, because this also, I have to say, you may have the tendency this month to want to like just snap at people verbally, but you also know you can't in some regard. Like you may have that urge, but you don't do it. Channel it into excavating your own pain. Because we can't blame people either for being not self-aware, right? Like when people are just not like as self-aware as us, and whatever, it can be really irritating and really grinding, because we're like, hello, I've done this work, you're pissing me off, you're not doing the work, like snap, snap, snap. But that doesn't really, you know, that's not really going to get us very far. So what Spirit is asking you to release, we have the Two of Wands with the Emperor. And on the Two of Wands, we have self. So I feel like you're realizing there's other ways to live. Or there's other ways to live out your persona or live out your energy. I do feel that you're preparing yourself to step out of your comfort zone in a way that you have previously not. Because the Two of Wands, right, talks about a vision. And now with self here, we're talking about self-perception. What perception do I have of myself? What perception do I have of where my life is headed? What perception do I have of my voice? I feel like that's really important, your voice, and how people perceive that voice. And does people's looming perception of me and my voice shape my voice? And, you know, am I seen as someone that flies off the handle or whatever? With Emperor here, I do feel that it's important to not define yourself through other people's lenses, especially fathers, men in general, and bosses. Okay, I feel like that's really important. That you are your own leader, and that you beat to your own drum. And again, not to be defined by power outside of yourself. I feel like that's very, very, very important. And that when you start to frame yourself from your own parameters, from your own self-created structure, it becomes a lot easier to breathe. I feel like there's a weight lifted off your shoulders when you realize that you can be whoever you want to be inside whatever structure you want, but you have to accept that other people aren't like you, no matter which way you are. There's going to be people that aren't like you. There's going to be people that don't like you. There's going to be people that are never going to self-reflect. There's going to be people that are never going to enjoy life, you know, whatever the case may be. But acceptance is also realizing we don't have to fight our environment, or that things that are not like us or don't like us are not necessarily a threat to us if we don't involve ourselves in them. The door that's now open, that was once closed. We have the Star, Strength, with the rune Fertility, and the Two of Pentacles. And on the Two of Pentacles, we have the rune Safety. I really feel like this is saying that it's safe to juggle vulnerability with strength, and the strength of vulnerability. These two cards are working in conjunction, and what's really, really, really beautiful is one represents Aquarius, one represents Leo, and that is where our eclipses are hitting, right? So, be sure to also, I feel, look in your astrology chart and see where Aquarius falls and see where Leo falls, and I feel like those houses, and you probably have them split between more than one houses, and that's okay. That is where you will find both your power through yielding and your power through defense, right? Through external strength, okay? Especially where you find Leo. You're going to have a multitude of possibilities. Whatever house rules Leo, I feel you're going to have a multitude of possibilities to be able to surrender to your dreams as well, okay? Because there's this safety mechanism that you've been functioning with, which is just doing one or the other. It's like you're completely naked and surrendered, and then you get like completely violated, and then you flip into like hardcore, like I'll cut your throat mode. You know what I mean? Excuse me. And there's a lot of strength in trust. There's a lot of strength in being docile. Knowing when to bite, right? Not every predator is worth you exerting the strength that is required to execute it, right? So really be mindful of who's worth the effort as well. And the Star is about dreams coming true and having a deep, deep belief in things that we cannot see, right? So I feel like when you juggle spiritual power with physical power, that's when magic really happens. And I feel like that is where you will find the most success and the most safety that you yearn for, because you're always going to want safety, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to know in which ways you're seeking it and how you're ingesting it, right? And both of these cards have the infinity symbol, which is saying that everything is infinite. So whatever we're tapping into, you know, the opposite and equal to it are also getting created, and we're going to slide through them. So whatever is happening now isn't going to happen forever, but it may come back around, and we have to have different tools to prepare ourselves to be able to survive it, if you will. And this is also about stepping out of survival into thriving as well. Your current energy as it relates to this. Bum, 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 bum. We have the Ace of Cups in your head. The Two of Cups in your heart with the rune friendship. And the Ace of Wands in your foundation. So I do think that you're in a time where you're making new friends and or accepting that, you know, some of your friends maybe aren't on the same page as you, right? Or moving on with their life in a way that you're not, or vice versa, right? And I feel like you're also restructuring friendship, right? And what friendship means to you. But again, I think this is also about being your own best friend. I think this is also about verbally drawing specific boundaries with friends, not holding your tongue when someone is completely like over the line. Like, because let's say you always hold your tongue with people you love. You're like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, I know they love me, whatever. But then all of a sudden they say one little thing and you snap. And they're like, why didn't you tell me this earlier, right? And then with strangers, you have like a very, very, very low threshold with them because, you know, you don't draw boundaries other places. So I feel like as you learn how to be the friend to yourself that you've always wanted from other people, you understand that there has to be a balance of gentleness and patience with some level of rigidity and some level of like, no, there's always a hard line that we don't cross, right? There's always a hard line that we don't cross. Because in order to be rejuvenated through spirit, we have to know where we begin and end. So I think it's also important to draw boundaries with people so that you know where your shit begins and their shit ends and vice versa. With these aces here, this is energy that is porous for new beginnings. So if you really, really focus on meeting yourself halfway in fostering this energy into, excuse me, relationships that will also be willing to meet you halfway, I find this to be really powerful. Ace of Cups in your head is, I feel like a mental baptism in realizing that you can begin again at any moment. You can begin again and infuse love into your mind, into your thoughts at any single moment. It's not exclusive to certain ages or certain time periods or certain experiences. We can forgive and begin again at any moment. With the Ace of Wands in your foundation, I feel like inspiration and drive is getting fused back into your life in a new way. I feel like this is like a boost of self-esteem, a boost of power, and courage, right? Courage, to kind of push you forward to live more authentically, and again, accept that it doesn't matter what has happened before, because here we are now. Spirit's advice is the Three of Swords with the Devil, and the Three of Swords is clarified by strength. So I feel like it's important to remember too that, you know, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And that if we channel our pain in a specific way, if we channel our biggest fears, if we channel those memories that have haunted us into creativity, into a passion project, into using our voice, I feel like using your voice is really big. I've been telling you guys that for a little while. We will find a lot of strength. Like, obviously it takes time to find strength in painful situations. It doesn't happen overnight. But I feel like for the most part, you're ready. And again, there's an opposite to everything. So what was once binding, what was once limiting, what was once heavy and aggressive and codependent and addictive, right? What we used to use to strengthen, that's another thing. Sometimes we have to recognize that we use vices or we use codependent situations or relationships, again, to anything, be a substance, a food, whatever, a scenario. Sometimes we use it to strengthen our pain because healing seems harder. Okay, so be mindful of that as well. And also, it's okay to accept your pain, because until you accept it, or until you accept that you have these supposed shortcomings, or you have these wounds, you're not going to be able to let them pass through your body. They're going to get pressed back down. So I feel like you need to flex your muscles in terms of like getting that old active trauma out of your body. Like I feel like it's trapped in different parts of your body, and if you physically work out, you might be able to get it out as well. Physical activity might be able to clear it out of your body. Or just moving out of your normal space, moving around, taking a trip, things like that. I feel like that will maybe it might bring up old pain, but because if you actively move through it, I feel like it's important to physically move through your pain. And moving into August, we have, excuse me, Temperance with the Eight of Cups and the Eight of Wands with the Rune Healing. So I feel like, again, that message of physically moving through your pain and allowing it to physically transform out of your body and accepting that you're not perfect and therefore nobody is perfect and we're all just on this earth trying to figure it out, that your healing will skyrocket you forward, okay? Because there's a lot of change coming for you, and it's going to continue to come, but it's not going to be as bumpy as you think, right? Because there's this double message of patience, and there's this double message of things will happen in due time. And if things aren't manifesting externally right now, that's because we have a lot of inner work to do, and that's happening for a lot of signs. It's not just you. Yours just happens to be more relationship focused and trauma around relationships, and Aries had that message as well. It just is coming out a lot different for them. Temperance is also a reminder that, you know, again, we can turn water into wine. We can turn, you know, metal into gold if we alchemize it. And that's, again, transforming your pain. I feel like turning your pain into art of some kind, channeling it into a business, channeling it into a project will be very, very beneficial for you. And it will also speed up healing. And it's important to just know that you can leave anything behind. You can leave anything behind, but you have to leave it behind consciously and not through suppression, okay? Spirit, what affirmations do you have for Taurus for the month of August? Ooh, okay, we're going to go with this one right here. As I change my thoughts, the world around me changes. Everyone in my life has something to teach me. We have a purpose in being together. Yes. So this could also be about healing ancestral pain and healing collective trauma. And it's starting with you. And that can be a daunting task where you realize that you're the most self-aware person in your family. You're the most self-aware person in your workplace or whatever. But it's not as bad as it feels when you're just recognizing that you're the one that is aware and other people aren't. It gets a lot easier when you just start to, you know, apply the principles that you know and shift. Taurus, I love you. Peace.